I have to send another link for them. For some reason they didn't pick up the camera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got that in the other link. I'm doing it, so it's okay.
It's very well done. So they don't do it that way. So we need to sort of carry out and I think sort of go that way and then lead feet first. Come out.
Yeah. How many family? Is it all family?
Four.
The heaviest flowers I can find.
Sally, both for the sad, difficult time, both for the sad, difficult time, saying goodbye to Sarah's visit, but also to celebrate, a brief but sparkling love. Allows visitors to what Sarah meant to each of us, goes on more importantly, goes on me. We can't really begin to do that though. Without first acknowledging the huge sense of loss that everybody is feeling. And also the bloody unfairness of it. Start by saying, very appropriately, the sun's out, and shining today. And for those of you who arrived early, there was even a little sputtering of snow. Quite unusual. One time ago, I was chatting about currency books and currency. I like to think that we're a tiny bit replaced by my effective always go around and some of those small days, little glimmer. At the time, it's being knocked down and you're not used to something. I'm waiting through the Harry Potter films, which I made an amazing job. I made an amazing job of weighing up points. Mainly one being the binge watching and we noticed how unfair it is, particularly the lost Morgan film, that so many of the good characters die, while the evil families seem to get away with it. And we acknowledge how this is often true. Death doesn't always come early. Say around the time. Or even to the children. I like to see them want to be like battle or even fighting or even praying. And in fact she told me she'd like to see those terms struck in the lexical films. They almost imply that if you haven't battled hard enough or you haven't fought long enough, whereas actually we all know that illness is just something that sometimes happens. She didn't see death as a failure, just as something that happens to us all at a time none of us can choose. And one that's not instead, she approached her illness with hope for herself and for everyone around her. And sadly, when it became clear that she wasn't going to get better, she set about dying in the same way that she lived. With authenticity, honesty, curiosity, and armed with facts. She first wanted to make sure that everything was okay with everyone around her. And then we carried on around her right until the last moment. And she planned it so well that that's exactly living well, dying well. I think it's great. Sarah found it. Unlike the rest of them, I only knew the last 2 weeks of her life. It was a huge privilege to be asked to at such an intimate and vulnerable time. In between helping poor Sully with his schoolwork, which I was really hard. I was able to have some incredible conversations with Sarah about death and birth. Sarah wasn't ever sorry for herself. It was only sad to be leaving the party early, and from what I hear, she liked it. And of course, not being around for those who she lost. I mention my own brief role in this, only because Sarah, of all the people that I've worked with, Sarah has taught me the most about dying with grace. I believe it's quite slow. The ghost itself doesn't want to be so scary. To be something that takes place at home in the midst of normal life. Sighing unafraid and at peace, as she did, is something we can all strive for. Always keen to support the family. Her final act was to become a deaf activist. I'm so grateful that, like Sarah, Simon, Millie and Sully, you also made me feel very welcome. It could have gone the other way when this strange woman swooped into the house like an angel of doom. And the same goes for her amazing friends who I've met, both here and through the ether in Australia. Everybody was so generous in sharing their dear friend with a stranger. She knew what she was doing in this. And while it's a usual part of the end-of-life noodle roll, or the death noodle, as Sarah and I prefer to call it, it's usual to support friends and family, but in this case I have to say it's been very much a two-way street. It seems everyone who knew Sarah recognised that she had a real knack for making connections between people and nurtured those connections with love and compassion. As we all know, Sarah's life is way too short, but blimey, she really lived and loved way more fully than some people who make it past 100. You all know her backstory and her history, so we're going to dispense with a chronological biography. I'm sure you can quiz Simon later if you want to know every single detail of her growing up, but instead we're going to focus today on the Sarah that she became. Friends and family have described her beautiful smile and witty words, always so carefully chosen. Words were so important to her in all their forms, and it's great that there will be blogs and articles to keep her wonderful writing alive, as well as lists of instructions on using and beautiful letters of the family and the children. Sarah was a strong, intelligent woman with a keen social conscience. Another of her legacies must surely be the inspiration that she gave to all of those around her to question face value politics and inform themselves about, in particular, women's issues, international affairs, and social injustices in all their forms. During her illness, a group of women who joined together to share updates were appropriately dubbed the Sarah-jettes, in honour of the suffragettes who fought for what was right and fair. She had an extraordinary ability for making amazing, loving, long-lasting friendships that she treasured and tended to, however near or far those friends were living. To friends, she was the girl who chose hope or found her way back to it quicker than most. She was a wonderfully supportive, concerned friend, always ready to make sure she gave everyone who mattered to her quality time. Much of this time, I've heard, revolved around her love of wine. She was a brilliant cook. I'm only sorry that I didn't know her soon enough to have tasted some of that.
We did.
One favourite recipe was for her mum Pauline's banana bread, which we'll be eating some of it in a bit. Watch out for any birds swooping down. I've had to chase a few away. She loved listening to music and made some great playlists. Any music you hear today was chosen from her own funeral playlist. She was very organised. If you want to know what else was on it, because it was very long, I'm sure you can ask Simon and maybe it could be shared. And she loved dancing too, particularly in Sydney in her 20s, strutting her stuff out clubbing. Everything Sarah did, she did with joy and a sense of being fully immersed in the moment. She did everything mindfully. And of course, there was the hair. Consistently fabulous, she was the girl who rocked every hairstyle and hair colour known to womankind. It would be doing Sarah a disservice to paint her as a saint, but fortunately for us, the family have kindly pointed out some of her faults. Thanks for this. The children say her chief one was being a goody-goody. Hearing tales from SJ and Beck in Australia and from Sarah and Simon themselves, I'm not quite sure I could agree with that. I've heard some pretty wild times being talked about in Australia. And neither perhaps would Sarah's father Larry and her brother Sam, who I'm guessing experienced more of her shenanigans than most people. Simon says her most annoying habit was lecturing, labouring a point over an injustice.
Maybe that was just a day.
Particularly treasured memories for the family, they've told us, will be all the fantastic trips that they went on. I know Millie and Sully mentioned Italy and Paris. I think they preferred Disneyland or had a better time at Disneyland than Sarah did, but Sarah particularly enjoyed Paris. Sarah left Simon a really beautiful letter, and he wanted to share some of her own words today. Our travels have been another of the best things in our marriage. I can't believe we got to see as much of the world as we did. You made a lot of that happen, and I'm so grateful to you. There are too many amazing trips to mention, but some of my favourites were the trip up the Australian coast and to Broken Hill in '99, our honeymoon to the Cook Islands, which was blissful, Thailand every time, and California, which, as you know, was a dream come true for me. Thank you for making San Francisco a reality for me, plus all the European trips, which were all amazing. I'm sure you've got favourite memories of Sarah yourself. Now's your chance to spill the beans. If anybody has got a little memory, a short thing they'd like to remind us about Sarah, now would be a lovely time to do that. We're going to also later on fill in some tags with private messages to Sarah for anybody who'd like to do that. But this really is just your chance to briefly tell us something about Sarah that you will remember fondly. Don't feel under any pressure, because as I say, there's a moment to do that privately as well. But if there's anything you would like to share, perhaps you can just raise your hand and we'll listen. Fiona, did you want to start with yours? I know a few of you have got things written down. If anybody becomes overcome while you're reading, just hand me the paper. We're all together here, and laughter and tears are all appropriate.
I'm stretching grief slightly. But I have okayed it with Simon first. Don't do that.
Now.
Yeah, just ring the bell and I have to go. Off. This is a letter that I started writing to Sarah in November and have continued updating and changing since.
I'll move out of the way and then you can read it.
So I wanted to read it to Sarah. Dear Sarah, I've loved hearing about your younger self and the many adventures that you have had, and I wish I had known you then. While we don't have a lifetime of shared memories, you're one of those special people who one encounters quite unexpectedly and turns out to be a friend for life. When sifting through my memories, it's the warm, happy and everyday moments that stand out for me, even factoring in the helicopter ride. Putting the world to rights over beautifully made coffee in your sunny conservatory has been an absolute highlight of the past 4 years, and I'm so glad I spent so many more hours doing that instead of working on my PhD. Whether it's the climate emergency, social injustice, misinformation, Brexit, or a badly written memo from the school, we know that we could do a better job of pretty much everything. I always love to know what you've been reading and watching. You're the best TV critic I know. If it wasn't for you, I might have watched Big Little Lies before reading the book first. Such a mistake. When we both love a character, plot line, or a perfectly expressed sentiment, it's reassuring evidence of our shared view of the world. It hasn't all been coffee. There's been good champagne, various gins, and some exceptionally well-made espresso martinis, often to accompany delicious food, and I concur with pretty much all your other friends. Your culinary skills are incredible. The last meal you made for me was a mushroom omelette, simple yet delicious. I don't think I've ever truly mastered an omelette. You're such a thoughtful and generous human, always thinking of others, even when you've had so little energy yourself. When you told me that your treatment options were narrowing, you cried, not for yourself or because you were afraid, but because you couldn't bear having to tell others and cause them hurt and pain. You're so selfless and have been there for me when I've had to make some very difficult choices, always listening, never judging, and being able to say exactly the right thing at the right time, which makes you an exceptional friend. Your generosity has even extended to sharing your friends with me. I feel so privileged to have met others who love you, some here today and others spread far and wide. I've gate-crashed your Thursday coffee mornings, shared special occasions with trusted family friends, and even, in recent times, been able to connect with some of your closest long-term friends in Australia and other parts of the world. Such amazing, feisty, caring, and hilarious people. Well, of course they are. Lately, I found courage, support, and solace in these incredible women, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to share these friends and their love. And finally, your wonderful family who you've shared with me and with my family. Simon, Sullivan, and Millie. I can't finish without mentioning our daughters. I love that our girls love one another as much as we love each other. There's a lot of love in that sentence. These two creative, independent souls who laugh about the silliest of things and yet are prepared to march about important issues. These young feminists who care passionately about the climate, Harry Potter, animals, books, and of course bananas. They will make the future a brighter one. And so to that future, I hold close the hugs, the laughter and the memories, and while I can't quite comprehend a future without you, what I know is that my life and this world is better for having had you in it, and I'm going to miss you so much. Lots of love.
Would anyone else like to say a few words? Hello, forgive me, I printed out this morning, so I'm having to read from my phone. So I think Sarah would have appreciated this with the technology, I think she would have minded. About 6 years ago, we were children at school. We soon hit it off, and a bunch of us meet regularly on Thursdays after drop-off. Sarah would often and gloriously be late to arrive when we gathered, even when she'd driven and we'd walked at the same time. She was always the last one in. But she was never flustered, always looking amazing, even when we knew perhaps that she wasn't always feeling it. As a group, we would put the world to rights, we'd laugh, we'd prop each other up, we'd listen. Sarah always had something very enlightening to say, and she was usually absolutely spot on. Chats would often contain political discussions, meaning we all had quite a lot to talk about over the last 2 years. I think Sarah's biggest influence on me will be to remember not to sweat the small stuff, but always to speak up about the big stuff, to stand up and be counted when it matters, just like she always did. Sarah blew me away with her dignity, grace, and continued compassion and unwavering regard for others over this past few months. It was a privilege to call her my friend. Darling Sarah, you will be so missed. I promise we will talk of you often. Our friend, a total badass. You have been so loved.
Thank you.
Forward.
I'm going to ask everybody who's speaking to shout as loudly as they can over the wind so that people in Australia can hear you.
But she did get there to the party. Sarah, you will always be remembered for your loving, sunny disposition, a deep thinker, one who is willing to listen and have robust political and emotional discussions on all kinds of subjects. Her wordsmith qualities knew no bounds. I will always remember her for our chats and debates, and I'm probably a better person for her. Sarah will always live in our hearts and our minds, and through Simon, Millie and Sally, whom we all love dearly. Anybody else?
Buy a kilo of it, use a pinch, and then put it in the cupboard next to the other kilo of the stuff she already has. Just such a lovely, warming soul, and thank you for me and mate.
Peace beyond any understanding of it. So be with peace, beautiful Sarah. You stand as close to the front and shout as loud as you can.
So I first met, well, I'm Liz. I'm married to Lee, who is Simon's brother. So I first met Sarah along with Simon and Millie in 2008, a couple of days before Lee and I got married. And I think we were all slightly hysterical. Lee and I from all the preparation for the wedding, and Simon and Sarah from over 24 hours on the plane, severe jet lag, and the fact that they were in the midst of learning how to care for a 2.5-month-old Millie. I remember a moment of group hugging my soon-to-be brother and sister-in-law, and I'm sure some jumping up and down was involved, and thinking to myself, I'd really landed on my feet with these two, and how happy I was knowing that they were going to be my new family. I was so excited when Simon and Sarah announced they were moving to the UK, so I could get to know them more, as well as our precious niece and nephew. I will cherish my coffee chats with Sarah in the Flower Pot Cafe, sharing work problems, general life hacks, and the ups and downs of being married to a Rogers boy. These conversations will, of course, remain top secret. And we feel honoured and blessed to be able to say that Sarah was our sister-in-law, auntie to our boys, our family.
It's great. All crossed quite expensive.
I'm Rachel. I'm Sarah's friend. Sorry, am I not loud enough? Sarah was everything you could ever want or need in a friend. I'm going to do this. She was kind, caring, funny, fiercely protective, so clever. And if ever the world seemed particularly crazy or annoying, she always knew exactly the right thing to say. And I'm sure that's why she had so many friends, because she was just so good at friendship. So I just want to say that I feel very privileged to be here, because I know there are so many people who meant so much to Sarah who can't be. She was my hero. She was my style icon. The boots and the Breton are homage. And I'll never be able to rock a pair of dungarees like she did. But most of all, she was my very dear friend. And I loved her very much, and I will miss her very much.
Does anybody else want to say anything before we move on?
Hi everybody, you know who I am. And I just want to read to you a message that I received from a lady who...
Sorry, can you speak up?
Oh, sorry. I'll start
Yeah.
again.
It's the wind, it's very windy.
I just want to read to you a message that I received from a lady who had been praying for Sarah. She didn't know her, but she was one of a group of ladies from our churches, and she had a real heart to pray. And we received this message on the Tuesday after Sarah died. So her name's Rossi. She wrote, I just want to share with you my amazing experience on Monday morning during my quiet time. I always sit on my bed and look out of my window, and my thoughts were on Sarah. This is before I heard she had passed away. A white dove hovered right in front of me and then flew up over the roof. I was so amazed. and I knew Sarah had gone to be with the Lord, and she was completely safe. I have prayed so much for her. My thoughts and prayers are with you and all the family. And that was a great comfort to me, and I hope it will be to you all too. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for those words. I know it's really hard to get up when you're sad about the loss of a friend, so well done. Sarah's greatest joy was, of course, her family. Sarah and Simon's teamwork have made them parents that all of her friends look up to, and their marriage has been equally inspiring. Millie and Sully say they will remember her as beautiful, happy, friendly, and clever. In fact, cleverer than Dada is actually. They admired her drawing, her writing, and her calligraphy. One of Millie's favourite times was painting in the gazebo in the garden with Sarah last summer, and also sneaking downstairs when Sully was asleep to watch Gilmore Girls. Sarah spoke a great deal about her confidence in Simon to do the job she couldn't anymore, and also in the rest of her friends and family to be the role model she wanted for them. And I really do feel, from what I saw of Sarah in her last weeks and days, that however difficult it was to be leaving without her children, the fact that she had such confidence in the people she was leaving behind to help them and nurture them made it very much easier for her to leave as peacefully as she did. To Simon, she wrote this: "Together, we've achieved so much. Millie and Sully are, of course, our greatest success story. They're such wonderful children, and I know they will be amazing adults, whatever and whoever they become. I wish so much I could see them grow up. But I am comforted knowing you will guide them with patience, love, and empathy, just as you always have. You are the best father to those two." We're going to listen to another song on Sarah's playlist, "Hymn to Her" by the Pretenders, while we have a quiet moment of reflection. Or for any of you with a religious faith, this is a good time to offer up a prayer. When you feel ready at any point in the next few minutes while you're listening to the music, I invite you, if you'd like to come and take a little heart tag from the box here. There are pens here as well. Some have been pre-written by people who couldn't be with us today. They sent me their messages and I've written those out. And we ask you to come and tie them onto the coffin handles. Or even if you'd just like to put your name on a tag, that would be lovely.
Into love, I thought it's lined with the things you don't show. Lay me beside you, down on the floor. I'll be your lover from the womb to the tomb. I dress as your daughter when the moon becomes round. You'll be my mother when everything's gone. She will always carry on. Something is lost, something is found. They will keep on speaking. Some things change, some stay the same.